Welcome to the preview episode of Pore Choices, the podcast that helps beauty professionals and enthusiasts alike make better beauty decisions. Full episodes launch on Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. Of course, you don't have to wait till then. You can subscribe right now, today, wherever you're listening. I'm your host, Hadia Dashe, aka Fairy Glow Mother, aka Kamiko Pill, and this preview episode is here for two reasons mainly. First, I want to let you know what you're getting yourself into. Like, yes, there's a trailer, but I want you to know what the show will really be like most of the time. And also just like have this as a reference episode for people who catch on a little late so they can come back and get the lay of the land. Secondly, I need to test to make sure everything is set up correctly and tracking properly. Like, I did this all by myself and I don't know. I don't know if I have everything right. So this is like my own little test episode, really to make sure the analytics and all that stuff is working. You know how it goes. So right now I need you to go ahead and hit subscribe, listen to this podcast in full, share it with a friend or a client. If you're listening on Spotify, go ahead and follow, answer a poll, leave a comment. Like I just let me know that you can hear me. You can even leave a comment on YouTube because the podcast is on YouTube too. Like, help me out. Now, you learned a little bit about my story in the podcast trailer. And if you haven't listened to it yet, go ahead and give that a listen. But I'll briefly list my credentials here because I'm sure there will be someone somewhere asking, what made you qualified? Let's just go ahead and nip that in the bud. So to make a long story short, I've lived a lot of lives and done a mini side quest, if you will. They include undergraduate degree in media, brief stints in music PR and journalism, a decade-long career in tech focused on marketing for startups. And because I am the Lynn from Girlfriends of my friend group, I'm currently pursuing a master's in skin biology and dermatological sciences. In addition to this, I'm also formulating a skincare line for my clients that is sold in studio and online at glowdega.com. All that to say, I know a lot about starting businesses, marketing businesses, growing businesses, and even more about skin and skincare products. So I'm kind of especially qualified to talk about the intersection of these two things, the two things being business and beauty. And that is my most professional and polite way of saying, don't come for me unless I send for you. Okay. All right. Moving on. I should tell you right now that Pore Choices isn't a regular beauty podcast. Each week I'll be breaking down the business of beauty, doing deep dives into skin science, and discussing the ugly side of this industry. I've been in this game going on 8 years and have made more than a few fuck ups. So you'll learn a lot about what not to do. And I'll probably be de-influencing you from a lot of things as well. I'm also going to be sharing practical business insights to help you run a successful practice, build advanced skin treatments and protocols, and become a brand. And if you're a skincare enthusiast or a client, you probably will just become really, really good at spotting beauty scams and learn how to become your esthetician's favorite client. So now we're going to get into a sample of the show. After a very short intro, like the one I just did, I'll tackle a main topic like business strategy, skin science, industry developments, and then we'll dive into a few fun segments. This is a solo podcast, and I'm aiming to keep episodes 30 minutes or less. Honestly, probably always less, because even though I am my mother's only child, I have to admit that talking to myself for 30 minutes is like a lot. Occasionally there will be guests, and when I do have a guest, we'll keep the episodes a bit longer, but probably not more than an hour. Now, let's get into today's segments. We're going to start off with Pore Decisions, which is the business insights and marketing segment that will likely be a part of each episode. It's basically some free game. Let's talk about the New Year slowdown. This is a reality that every esthetician faces. Your regular clients might be traveling for the holidays or just tightening them purse strings after some holiday spending. This is also when we naturally see some client turnover. People move cities, they switch jobs, they might lose some jobs. They make new and different financial commitments with the new year, or they simply reprioritize their self-care routines. I have seen it all. But this year has been like really special in a unique case because 2024 was the year of the baby at Glodega. So I've lost quite a few clients to motherhood, which I personally think is beautiful. This is also just normal. Like, there's no need to panic. None of this is worth freaking out over. This is life. Your clients are growing, and that is a good thing. It's also just the nature of business. Like, as much as you would like to have every client that walks into your door be your client forever, that's just not always going to happen. Every year I see new estheticians in these professional groups like freaking out about how slow business gets. And trust me, when you've been in this industry long enough, you will soon realize that this is just a temporary 6-week stretch. You'll see it like right before Christmas until right before Valentine's Day. Like, it's good. If you as an esthetician are wanting to really take some time off and you want a really long vacation, always make it in January because the clients weren't coming anyway. Now I'll be real with you. Unless you're one of those rare nail artists or hair artists catering to like the baddest bitches on earth, weekly clients weren't the norm anyway. And most of us in the aesthetics world consider ourselves lucky to have those very consistent monthly clients. Like, yes, if you're a waxer, you're more likely to have the consistent client coming every 4 to 6 weeks. But if you're focusing on skin and facials, honestly, a quote unquote regular client for you could be every 6 to 12 weeks, especially if you're just starting out and especially if you're like just not as booked. It's okay. This brings us to our first poor decision. In this slow season, the slow time right now, the slowdown, should you focus on attracting new clients or rekindling relationships with your past clients? I want you to think about that for a little second. In this slow period, should you be focusing on attracting brand new clients to your business, or should you be figuring out ways to bring your existing clients back? And what I mean about existing clients and past clients is, yes, you have your monthly clients, but there's also that client that you did see back in February around Valentine's Day and you have not seen them since. Like, how do you get them back? How do you get them to come back to you maybe 4 more times in a year? Should you be thinking about that right now? So I want you to really go ahead and give those questions some thought, because that's kind of like the core of today's episode. But before you fully answer that question, just go ahead and hit subscribe. I can already tell, I feel the vibes. I feel like you know, and I know that you are getting value from this podcast. Just go ahead and hit subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so let's look at the facts. The cost of acquiring a new client in the beauty industry is $127. Now, this cost is called the customer acquisition cost, or CAC in marketing speak. This means that you typically have to either spend that amount in marketing or give up that amount in discounts just to get one new customer. And in reality, estheticians that focus more on bigger ticket items like facials and peels end up spending close to the entire cost of that service just to bring in one new client. That's a lot of money. And it's also a lot of money when you are starting out because you probably don't have that to spend, to be honest. On the other hand, the CAC for a returning client is around $60. What was that Johnny Taylor said? It's cheaper to keep her. Or, him, them in this case, because we are gender inclusive around here. Yes, that is true. It is usually going to be significantly less to remarket to your existing clients than it is to try to bring in a new client. Another reason that I would not advise you put all your money or focus into marketing to new clients around the holiday season is usually because the marketing costs, especially if you're going to go the digital marketing route, it is going to be significantly higher than when you try any other time throughout the year. So from about October to February 1st, marketing costs online, like through Meta, so Facebook, Instagram, even sometimes like Google AdWords, the cost per click will be significantly high. The cost per click or the cost per impression will be significantly higher than what it would typically be, let's say around, April. Like, you just want to be smart with the spending on that. So for those of us seeing clients every 6 to 12 weeks, this slow period is actually the perfect opportunity for improving your rebooking rate with past clients. And this is how I want you to think about this and how to do it. I want you to go to your booking site, look at your analytics, and I want you to export a list of clients who visited you 3 times or fewer in 2024. So if I'm breaking down the year into quarters, let's just say they came maybe once a quarter, and with the fourth quarter, there's so much going on, there's holidays, and maybe they just skip. We want to see what we can do to bring them back. And why 3 times? Well, remember what I said about that 6 to 12 week visit window? It helps to identify who might need a little nudge to come back. Your goal is going to be to get these clients to come back within the first 6 weeks of the year. If you had someone coming for Valentine's Day, how do you get them to come in January and then again around Valentine's Day? If you had someone maybe come to you for spring break in March or April, how do you get them to come a little sooner? You have some options on how you can do this. You can offer a special service add-on, like maybe a free brow wax with a facial. You can introduce new services, maybe a special of some sort, and you can do it for all clients or just the returning clients only. And lastly, you can create special packages. So if I'm using facials as an example, you can create a special facial package of maybe 4 treatments. But in order to secure the package, you have to start sometime in January. Maybe it's 4 treatments, but it expires like March 1st or something. So it forces them to come in a little bit earlier. And also, I just want to say, while discounts are an option, I am not the biggest fan. I have a whole episode dedicated to it. So we'll dive into that a little bit more on a future episode. But yeah, I'm not really going to be the discount girly. When I was starting out and approached this slow period for the first time, I was doing a lot of individual reaching out, like calls, texts, and sending like these hyper personalized emails where I was trying to recall, what was going on from the last conversation. I take a lot of notes on my clients, so I can always remember random things that they've told me. And at this stage, that would not be something that I could do. I have to be honest. The personal reach out is just not feasible given my client volume. So today, I rely really heavily on email marketing. But I have to say, I have a lot of those clients from those early days who are still my client today. And those personal calls and texts were really golden. They really appreciated the personal touch. So if you are new, just starting out, or your client list is still growing, I would say go ahead and use these slower days to make those types of connections, because I think they leave a lasting impression on your client. For everyone else who might just be experiencing a little bit of a slowdown, I would honestly take this time to consider creating evergreen loyalty offers. So these can be dollar amounts or percentages off services based on spend. So not exactly a discount, because it's not like they can come one time and receive a discount. They have to have spent X amount of money with you before a discount kicks in. And then on the back end, when you do all the math, the discount could be something that doesn't really affect your bottom line that much. Another way you can go about it is creating free add-ons to services. And for this, I'm thinking like a free lip wax with brow services or an underarm wax with a Brazilian as an example. If it's facials, maybe you can do a mask upgrade. You can also add a free service after X amount of paid services. So this is like the typical punch cards you might see where it's like, come in and pay in full for 9 services, your 10th service is free or half off or something like that. You can also do a discount on product purchases, but with a service. So it's not like they can come in and get the product and get a discount without having paid for the service first. That's, again, we're thinking about how to give value without you personally losing as much value. And I know, it might be a little confusing right now, but we will have an episode on that in the future. So these loyalty rewards I'm talking about, you can do it in the form of a punch card, which is a super low cost way to create, or you can automate it depending on what your booking platform is. I actually just created some loyalty cards in the form of a fun lottery style scratch off instead, because who doesn't love the good old dopamine hit of winning free shit? I designed them in Figma, printed them through Vistaprint, and got some scratch stickers from Amazon. And if you want to see how they turned out, just follow me on Instagram. You can even DM me. I probably will end up making like a highlight or something to show them off to you. So in general, loyalty programs are good business, but they can and often do go wrong when businesses choose the wrong rewards. And it's very easy to lose money by having this offering. So choose your loyalty reward wisely. If you're going to add a service as a reward, make sure it doesn't take you longer than 15 minutes to perform, so you're not losing time or wages when you have to pay out for your employees' labor. And be sure you're doing the math on the back end so that providing your free service or loyalty reward discount isn't actually costing you too much money. For your loyalty cards, you can choose to keep them business card size so your clients can keep them in their wallets, or go for a postcard size to stand out. If you're going to go with the latter, I personally wouldn't recommend anything over a 4x6 size. Because I focus on skin, I shell out a few extra coins for the soft touch paper, and I usually include a little something cheeky like your skin will be as smooth as this card somewhere on there. But you can opt for metallic or foil finishes or different paper styles to match your brand. You do you, but creating loyalty cards and having them ready to go at the start of the year is always a good idea. On a future episode, we'll talk more about loyalty cards and how to win back customers, but I just felt like it was timely to give you this quick little gem now. Let me know what you're thinking. You can tweet me, because I'm never calling it X, or chat with me on Threads or even Blue Sky. I'm at FairyGlowMother on all those platforms. If you make your own scratchers, tag me in your post on IG showing them off. All right, let's move on to the Pore Report. Coming in hot, because this literally just happened as I was planning the topics and sitting down to record. We have to talk about Patrick Ta not paying creator Ivana Sunshine. I'm actually really glad this happened now, and I can talk about it in this episode specifically because, call me a cynic, but I feel like this happens every other month in the beauty industry. So I might as well get all I have to say out about it now, and this could just be evergreen content because it will happen again and no one will learn from it. If you don't know, Ivana Sunshine is a beauty influencer on social media, and 2 days ago, she posted a video to her TikTok account where she asked what one should do when they have not been paid for their work while breaking up all of the Patrick Ta palettes and duos and discarding them into the trash on screen. It didn't take long for the video to spread throughout social media, not only because of Ivana's large following. She has about 422,000 followers on TikTok, where I first saw the video, but because Patrick Ta is currently the beauty industry darling. He's a professional makeup artist who climbed through the ranks to celebrity and launched his own line. Now, his makeup line would be something I consider to be in the prestige category. The eyeshadow duos, which is in just 2 colors, are $42. The foundation is $58. I think you get it. So I will say his makeup, like his artistry, is incredibly beautiful, and up until this video, one could argue it was universally loved. The only things I ever saw people hating on was the price, which is also partly the reason why I think this was blowing up so much, because Miss Ivana was snapping those compacts apart like Thanos. Like, for the price, they broke so damn easy, and it was actually hilarious. At the time I'm recording this, it's been 2 days since Ivana made her video, and the video itself is currently at 7.2 million views. So yeah, quite damaging to Patrick Ta. Here's the thing. This happens specifically to Black beauty content creators all the time. Like, labor is often stolen, the industry is plagued with net 60 and net 90 terms, and there does not seem to be any strong legal recourse when these issues arise. Whenever a Black creator openly speaks about this with their following, we see an almost instant critique of their suffering versus an immediate offering of compassion or condemnation for the brand who failed to pay in the first place. I initially saw Ivana's video after it had been up for a few hours and just had barely over 100,000 views on TikTok. And at that time, a lot of the comments were asking her to explain what she meant by not getting paid, as if not getting paid could mean anything else than not receiving money, asking if she could reach out to his team, or if she did reach out to his team, as if she had not stated plainly in her video that she'd been reaching out for months. And asking why she chose to be wasteful by destroying the Patrick Ta makeup instead of donating it, as if suddenly people could not interpret the importance of symbolism in media. Anyway, I'm sure we're going to see a similar situation next month, maybe even Black History Month, and the month after that too, and the month after that, because this industry is one that does not value the input or the work, quite frankly, of Black creators, influencers, whatever you want to call them, but they really should, or at the very least, they should stop allowing themselves to be embarrassed like this, like every month. Like I said, should we take a bet on the next time something like this happens again? Like, what's the over under? Moving on. Alec Baldwin and his 100% totally real, actually Spanish wife, Hilaria, are currently embroiled in a little skincare drama as their 11-year-old daughter, Carmen, has co-authored a book with her mother about skincare. Now, the mom here, Hilaria, is kind of a known scammer, and there's a really great Scam Goddess podcast episode on her about like her grifts over the years. Immediately, I'm wondering why an 11-year-old is authoring a book on skincare. Like, for most kids, puberty doesn't quite hit or even peak at age 11. But outside of that, what does a child know about skincare? The book, titled Glowing Up, Recipes to Rock Your Natural Beauty, Empowerment, Self-Care, and Natural Radiance in One Inspiring Guide, which is just a long ass title. It'll be available for sale in March. And apparently it's like a cookbook mixed with skincare tips, or just, I'm not quite sure if it's a cookbook or like DIY skincare recipes. I don't know. It's hard to tell. But for me, in general, this seems like it's on that really fine line between exploitive and dangerous. Because again, 11, like what? Anyway, here's the caption that Hilaria shared on her Instagram post announcement. I'm going to read it in my regular voice, but for shits and giggles, you could read it in a fake Spanish accent if you would like. If your child is like ours, skincare is an obsession. Walking that line of letting them explore and have fun, but also being conscious of what they are putting on their skin is a hard one. We strike a balance in our home, and part of it has been Carmen led by watching her make her own skincare products from our kitchen, researching, learning about beneficial ingredients, creating, and having fun. Today, we're so excited to share Carmen is announcing the launch of her book, Glowing Up, Recipes to Rock Your Natural Beauty, Empowerment, Self-Care, and Natural Radiance in One Inspiring Guide, published by D'Angelo Publications. It's a guide to embracing self-care, building confidence, and celebrating natural beauty. It's available for pre-order today on dapbooks.shop and will officially release on March 28th. We'll be signing the first 500 copies. We are so proud of you, Carmen, and so excited to share this project with you all. I feel like I don't really have to give y'all any commentary on this because, like, it's a no for me. You are 11. Like, Anyway, what are we thinking? You can share your thoughts with me on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, blah, 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 blah. Leave a comment on Spotify. Okay, so this wraps up our first little preview. How did I do? Are you subscribed? Are you following? Are you entertained? What's tea? Let me know. Again, full episodes drop on Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. And episodes will drop every Tuesday, as a matter of fact. So go ahead and hit subscribe, rate, comment, let me know what you're thinking about this podcast. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the new year. Remember, make your poor choices the best choices.